The Demon King gathered his powers, and Parker was about to strike his own bride, but his sister Abigail stabbed him in the back, and Parker fell to the ground, unable to move. Maggie pleaded with Harry to save him, but Parker, having eaten the sacred fruit that made him immune to all magic, rendered Harry's healing spell ineffective. The Demon King fell with regret, and it turns out that Mel, while turned into a fly, accidentally discovered the stolen sacred fruit was with Parker, but her sister turned around and accused her of spying. Accused by Maggie, Mel returned to the command center alone, venting her frustration. Unexpectedly, she found a small tree root, and with a gentle tug, it broke off, oozing a black liquid. Meanwhile, Maggie sneaked into Parker's study, and after searching, she actually found the sacred fruit. Mel wasn't lying, but Parker's men soon arrived, clearly planning this to drive a wedge between them. Maggie was caught red-handed by Parker, and the two had a serious disagreement about what to do with the man. In the heat of the argument, Parker placed his hand on Maggie's head, and her memories flashed before her eyes. Parker now knew everything she had experienced. Seeing Maggie and Jordan together in her memories made Parker feel betrayed. At this point, the wedding couldn't go on, but Parker stopped Maggie from leaving, and in front of her, he ate the sacred fruit. Meanwhile, Mel continued to study the tree root, discovering it was made of the same black amber as Jordan's ring. The Book of Elders also gave a clue. Mel immediately attempted to freeze time, but it didn't work. At that moment, the wedding was underway, and Parker was forcing Maggie into marriage. Just as Macy was about to intervene, Abigail knocked over the altar, throwing the ceremony into chaos. Harry seized the moment to teleport the two away. Back at the command center, Maggie was devastated, realizing how harsh reality was compared to her dreams. Mel quickly showed her the newly discovered black amber, but the truth was, she hadn't regained her powers. Maggie, looking serious, touched it, triggering a vision of the future. It was Parker. He was coming to kill Jordan, his rival. They rushed to Parker, who was already there, and Maggie tried to reason with him. Parker threw Jordan aside, and as he advanced on Maggie, Mel panicked and froze him. The black amber had worked, awakening her new power, but the ice shattered, and the trapped Parker turned into black smoke. Breaking free, the smoke reformed, and Parker reappeared unharmed. Macy hurled a fireball at him, but it was useless. He had eaten the sacred fruit. Immune to all magic for the time being, Parker broke free from Harry and appeared in front of Maggie in an instant. He was now completely intent on killing Jordan, which led to the opening scene. The Demon King fell, and Abigail reclaimed his throne, declaring that the witches had killed her brother to solidify her power. In a twist, she visited the dungeon, where Parker was still alive and well, locked in a cell. He wasn't dead, but no one knew. Mel had successfully activated her powers with the black amber and was now using her new abilities to boil water. She couldn't help but admit that molecular manipulation was incredibly useful, and Maggie teased her about it. As they played around, Maggie caught a flying cup, and suddenly, a vision appeared. She saw the Darklighter. On the other side, Macy was also using the black amber. The Charmed Ones were down to their last hope for restoring their powers. After a round of experiments, it was still ineffective, which was truly bizarre. Maggie and Mel could use it, but for some reason, Macy couldn't. Maggie and the others rushed to the motel she had seen in her vision. Meanwhile, Macy covered for Maggie at work. When Maggie and the others arrived at the motel, they quickly located the room. As they searched, someone returned, and Maggie knocked out an older man who rolled into the room. They were all shocked. It was their father, who had left them when they were young. Their father tried to approach, but Maggie struck him again. Maggie had heard that he was dead and even cried at his grave for a long time. It turned out he had faked his death. Not only was their father an archaeology professor, but he was also a thief who sold artifacts. They immediately began searching and found the Darklighter's weapon. Meanwhile, outside, Harry saw a strange figure. The shadowy figure watched Harry from afar, and Harry immediately alerted the others. Their father tried to escape. Sensing the danger of this mysterious figure despite being immortal, Harry agreed and knocked him out with a punch. The shadow appeared outside the window, and at the critical moment, they managed to teleport away just in time. Macy, meanwhile, was listening to her new boss's speech. He wanted to hollow out the exhibition center and build a farm underground, but Macy's face turned pale. Both the roots of the Tree of Life and the command center were beneath that ground. At home, the two sisters were sizing up their father. This troublemaking Ray and their powers made them anxious, but the truth couldn't be hidden forever. Maggie splashed him with water to wake him up. Seeing the resurrected house, Their father was astonished. The scene shifted as their father questioned his daughters for the third time about being witches and marrying a witch. He clearly didn't believe it and thought the reappearing house was just a prank. Mel took the water glass and immediately froze the water. The two sisters unexpectedly found their father, who had faked his death. They were questioning him about the source of the Darklighter's weapon, and he said he needed the money at the time. Harry jolted when he heard about the amulet, remembering that the sister's mother was a witch elder, and that disc Harry used to release the Darklighter, it was made from this very amulet. Their father nearly got them all killed. The father said the buyer later contacted him again to ask about the origin of the amulet. Not wanting to answer, he fled the city. He came back when he heard the house had burned down and thought his daughters had died in the fire. That's when he found the ring in the ruins and decided to fake his death while investigating the matter. The shadowy figure that kept appearing was tracking him. They checked his belongings again and realized Ray had been marked. Soon, they found an unopened box. The sisters cast a reveal spell, and the box immediately opened, revealing a jade goat's head. An energy wave erupted, knocking everyone to the ground, and the invisible house was suddenly exposed. With the house revealed, enemies could attack at any moment, so they immediately set out to break the goat head spell, but as soon as it left their father's hand, it snapped back, meaning no one else could hold it. After several failed attempts, Mel and Harry returned to the command center to consult the Book of Elders, while Maggie stayed behind to protect Ray. The two quickly found an entry about the goat's head in the Book of Elders. It was a protective totem against evil forces. It had a characteristic of following whoever stole it, and even worse, it had a magical guardian whose sole purpose was to return it to its rightful owner. The shadowy figure pursuing their father was the guardian. At that moment, the guardian stood outside the sisters' home, while Maggie, unaware, gazed at the stars. As a child, she loved counting stars with her father, and she could no longer hide her longing for Ray. But as soon as she touched the goat's head, a vision of the future appeared, and the monster was already at the door. It wanted the totem, and their father immediately pulled it from his pocket. The three monsters outside merged into one and removed its mask. The unmasked monster had a massive mouth, and just as it was about to swallow Maggie, Ray shielded her. He then placed the totem into the monster's mouth, and with the totem in its possession, the monster vanished without a trace. The house's invisibility was restored, and the father and daughter hugged tightly, all their past conflicts dissolving in the face of familial love. A woman emerged from the shadows and turned into a spirit, lunging at Maggie. Why was there such a powerful evil spirit here? Maggie immediately looked for spellcasting materials, while Jordan felt colder by the second the evil spirit had appeared behind him. It turned out that Maggie's vision had come true. Her co-workers were celebrating Jordan's birthday that night. Bad news, Jordan's family was cursed by witches, and no man in his family could live past 25. Today was his 25th birthday. Maggie sprinted and tackled Jordan, and both sisters realized something was seriously wrong. But Mel and their father had other urgent matters. They were about to meet with the mysterious person who had bought the amulet. The father asked about the black amber on the table, but Mel, acting unusually, brushed it off. The two set off, and Ray secretly took the black amber. Soon, Mel opened a portal, and Ray, who had never seen anything like it, was amazed. Meanwhile, Jordan, who had narrowly escaped death, finally revealed the secret of his family. But Jordan didn't actually know about the witch's curse. He only knew that the men in his family never lived past 25, and he instinctively felt something was wrong. As they talked, Maggie suddenly felt a chill. Jordan immediately went to check the air conditioning. Maggie looked around and noticed words appearing on the glass in front of her. In the nearby darkness, an elderly woman appeared, leading to the scene from the beginning. Maggie quickly cast a spell to banish the evil spirit, while the old woman was already raising her hand. But as soon as the spell was completed, the old woman was pulled into a mirror by the magic. Seeing she couldn't escape, the evil spirit tried to persuade Maggie. It turned out she was the witch who had cursed Jordan's ancestors. The scars on her face were from being burned alive by Jordan's ancestor. Hearing her story, Maggie felt sympathy, but Jordan was innocent and didn't deserve to be punished. Seeing that Maggie, a fellow witch, was siding with an outsider, the evil spirit grew furious. She shattered the mirror with her fists, hitting it even harder. Meanwhile, their father was meeting with the mysterious person, and Mel was hiding in the bushes nearby. The man took what the father handed him, and the device in his hand immediately started to react. It could detect magical items. As they were about to part ways, an alarm went off on the device. It was a tracker. The woman immediately lost her composure and attacked with a critical strike. She pulled out a gun, ready to kill their father, who, in desperation, handed her the black amber. Seeing the woman's shocked expression, it was clear she recognized it. As she was about to demand the source of the item, the gun in her hand began to tremble. Then it turned red and melted. It was Mel's doing, scaring the mysterious person into retreating. Their accomplices arrived, and the two escaped in the chaos. Mel tried to stop them but was held back by their father, who said they couldn't afford to reveal magic any further. Black amber was a source of witches' magic, so why did these mortals want it? Meanwhile, Maggie was still flipping through books, and the evil spirit finally shattered the mirror and escaped. As she rushed to catch up, Maggie saw her coworker. An evil spirit lunged at Maggie, and the powerful Charmed One had no choice but to run for cover. When Maggie arrived, Jordan had already been thrown across the room, and the evil spirit had possessed their female coworker. The two immediately started fighting, but despite being strong, the evil spirit couldn't overpower her. However, Maggie could only knock her down and couldn't banish the spirit, so she took Jordan and fled to a room. At that moment, Jordan saw the curse manifest as the witch's spirit came for him, and Maggie finally confessed the truth to him. Meanwhile, Mel was questioning their father about what happened after he left them. The black amber was stolen by the mysterious figure, and Mel had to know more. Their father explained that he was an archaeology professor who often explored ancient ruins. Their mother was raising the kids alone, and eventually, she got back together with her ex-husband, Macy's father, and then Maggie was born. Macy had done a genetic test, and that's when the three sisters learned that Maggie and Macy shared the same father. Their father always knew, but he never treated Maggie any differently. He left because he and their mother couldn't reconcile. Meanwhile, Maggie also revealed her identity as a witch to Jordan. Learning that his ancestors had burned 25 witches here, Jordan was shocked. Suddenly, the light bulb exploded, and the evil spirit cut the power. She appeared in the vent above and lunged at them. Maggie quickly cast a spell to teleport herself and Jordan to the command center. Jordan was stunned by everything he saw, and after leaving him with their father, they took his ring and left the command center. The glass outside was already frosted over by the evil spirit. Macy and Harry received the news and rushed over to banish the spirit. All three of them needed to work together, but the spirit, still hurt from their last encounter, went straight for Maggie and captured her. The spirit demanded that Macy and the others bring Jordan to her, but after Maggie gently persuaded her and showed her the witch's ring, the spirit surprisingly put on the ring and gave up on revenge. The three cast a spell to banish the spirit from their coworker's body. The spirit then gathered in the air, and Maggie thanked her for letting go, but the witch warned that it wasn't over yet. She whispered something into Maggie's ear before turning into light and leaving. Before leaving, the witch's spirit gave Jordan a clue on how to break the curse, balance the scales of justice, which seemed to mean doing good deeds to atone for his ancestors' sins. Jordan then took the Darklighter's weapon and joined a group. This group was mainly made up of people who had experienced supernatural events, and they would share their stories. After Jordan shared his, someone approached them, clearly interested in the weapon he was holding. The man and the woman who had stolen the black amber were from the same organization. They collected magical items, and soon, under the man's lead, they met the woman. They began discussing how to trade the ring. Maggie and the others wanted to use this as an opportunity to learn more about the organization behind the woman. The woman said that eating this gummy bear would allow them to join the organization. Everyone present was a member. Though hesitant, the woman quickly pressured them into eating the gummy bears, but as soon as they did, the woman turned on them, making it clear they had no choice. Soon, a man appeared on stage, waving a stick and muttering something strange. The crowd below started swaying to his rhythm, their minds under his control. As a charmed one, Maggie was immune, and she watched in shock at what was happening. The man on stage opened a coffin and took out a small bottle. It was the stolen black amber. He dripped a few drops into the corpse's mouth and then began waving the stick again. Maggie immediately searched for Jordan, but people around her started collapsing as their energy was drained. Maggie wanted to take Jordan away, but he was also under the man's control. Jordan suddenly collapsed with a thud, and Macy and Mel arrived in response to Maggie's call. They, too, were stunned by what they saw. Maggie grabbed a stick and prepared to go on stage to stop the magic. Maggie once again took down her opponent, breaking the stick with a swift kick. The crowd woke up, but the corpse in the coffin was gone. Jordan was on the verge of death, and Macy suggested that the temperature difference could create a current. So, they cooled him down and then ignited a fire. The shock from the current successfully brought Jordan back to life. But what chaos would that resurrected corpse cause next? These mortals had gained power they shouldn't possess. And meanwhile, the mysterious figure was making contact. Inside the car was the resurrected corpse, and the mastermind was about to reveal themselves.